Ari, who's down the line, and Ashley
Morning, Nick.
James. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for starting with us. Obviously, this Strictly story...
Yeah, it's unacceptable, really, isn't it? You should be... There is obviously an ongoing investigation, so we will await use on any side, but especially to...
Before we come back to you, Ash, Nick, what's your take on this?
And I know the level to which you go to ensure... Amanda's interview last night on the television...
Well, something needs to be done.
Leaving the woman or, you know, putting whatever these outdated terms are that we use to women and kicking of any kind.
Yeah. Nick, good people, and the people that genuinely seems to have gone too far. What do you think they should...
Not for nothing have I never been asked to take part. These stances are against regular wife or husband or having children. This is one of the greatest moments...
What would you like to see, Ashley, before we go?
Well, I'd like to see action being taken. Obviously, I'd like to see the results of the investigation. I'd also like for the women who have come forward to be believed and to not face abuse, and for their families not to face abuse. But yeah, I think things need to change. And as for, you know, athletes putting themselves... There's no doubt that obviously athletes are professionals and of course they push themselves, but I think some of the allegations that we've seen, it's like kicking, it's physical abuse, and I think that's never acceptable, even if you're an athlete. Yeah. So, yeah, I think I love Strictly. I think it's an amazing family show.
This is in place to manage this. They also say the BBC and BBC Studios, who are the company that make Strictly, takes the duty of care extremely seriously. We announced additional steps to further strengthen welfare. To shoplifting offences, who are the highest in 20 now that it's acceptable.
I don't know if it's a culture where it's acceptable, but do you know what I find so heartbreaking when I go to supermarkets is seeing things like baby formula locked away.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we are one of the richest countries in the world. We should not be living in an environment where people are having to steal baby formula. And yes, you can look at gangs, because I think they're saying that a lot of shoplifting is done by gangs, and it's 12 gangs mainly that are doing the majority of shoplifting. But why do people need to steal? I guess, poverty. So, you know, we do have more food banks than McDonald's. We have 4.3 million children living in poverty. And to put that into context, that's 9 out of... Like, in a classroom, 9 children out of a class of 30 are living in poverty. So, you know, even in the Margaret Thatcher era, there was free formula. Her parent needed to steal in order to feed their child. So I think poverty is probably a big part of it. And perhaps maybe... you know, there not being sufficient punishment. I'm not...
And feel the need to steal. They find a way to balance the books. There is no possible justification to break the law. But to your point, Alison,
Sorry.
Most of this is now gang-related. If you look at stores...
This.
Nick,
you are exclusive.
Thank you,
what
guys.
I would give, by the way... Thank you.
Nick, Ashley...